It's a blowout when I didn't click the stream on and the game's still going on with Boston Celtics right now and the New York Knicks, but this game is over with. This game is a blowout no matter. It'll take a miracle for the New York Knicks to come back. So that's why we streaming right now. It's your boy, Mike K. Smith. Make sure you go like, comment, and subscribe. Also follow me on AKIS NBA, wherever you are on for the platforms. This is a blowout. This is a beatdown. The Boston Celtics are here and they have arrived. They are looking like a team that's destined to go off and to potentially repeat if everybody can stay healthy. I know it's only the first game of the season, but when you see a team like the Boston Celtics, who have one of the best offenses I have ever seen, and it seems like this is the modern and the future offense of not just the Boston Celtics, but probably of the NBA. And it seems like analytics did win. And as a guy that loves the purity of the game and loves everything about the art of basketball when it comes to sets, when it comes to different play styles, when it comes to teams having their own form of identity. The Boston Celtics analytical offense and approach have really changed the game, and they are the first team to really kind of go out and dominate and win a championship like the way that they won. And they're going to shatter the NBA team three-point record. They're shattering right now the individual game three-point record, and they're going to go off and break that record from a team aspect. But the Boston Celtics are here, and they look very dangerous. And it's almost as if like Team USA, let's talk about it. The Team USA disrespect towards Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown charged them boys up like a Tesla battery. Tatum won a ring and got disrespected by the media, casual fans. He was on a 2K cover athlete. Jason Tatum became the sixth player in NBA history to lead his team in points, rebounds, and assists, and won a title in the NBA Finals. Sixth player in NBA history. We're talking about LeBron James, Hakeem Olajuwon. We're talking about Tim Duncan. We're talking about Larry Bird and Nikola Jokic, and now Jason Tatum. And then he got DNPs on Team USA's bench to go along with Jaylen Brown, who was not even selected to be an injury replacement due to his lack of relationships with Nike and Grant Hill. They selected his teammate in Derek White to replace Kawhi Leonard over the Finals MVP. Once again, the Team USA disrespect charged them boys up like a Tesla battery. They are about to wreak havoc on the league. They are going to go out and have a revenge season. They're in their villain arc. And I'm all for it because we have never seen players of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's caliber at the wing tandem position. When we're talking about 6'6" and up wings that are switchable defensively and also can shoot the ball the way they can shoot the ball. And that is something extremely, extremely special. It's a fun time for Boston Celtics fans. And right now, if you're a New York Knicks fans, you're having questions. You're thinking about, wow, okay, so we have this acquisition of Karl-Anthony Towns. We traded a lot of draft picks for Mikal Bridges. And even though it's the first game of the regular season, I don't think anybody needs to get too up in arms because the first game of the regular season is not going to be like it is towards the last game of the regular season. But if you're a New York Knicks fans, you do have questions and you do have concerns. And the thing about why I was kind of like pump the brakes on people mentioning that the New York Knicks are going to be title contenders. They can go out and win a championship because even though defensively they're going to be extremely great, defensively they're going to cause a lot of havoc on teams. But it doesn't matter if you can't score the ball. Jalen Brunson may have to average 32 plus this regular season for the New York Knicks because I know fans of the New York Knicks did not like Julius Randle. Sometimes he was a shot chucker at times, but Julius Randle could create off the dribble and can create offense for himself. They have players that are great two-way players, but they have a defensive mentality first and not a scorer first mentality. So when you look at Mikal Bridges, you look at OG, they are great two-way players, but their mindset is defense first, not offense first. So that's the biggest difference comparing them to Jason Tatum and also Jaylen Brown. And that's why we're seeing them struggle with against the Boston Celtics on opening night, because if their game is not predicated on skill set and scoring the ball first. It's predicated on defense and taking what the defense to give you on the offensive side of the court. They're not going to go out and just go get you a bucket. And that was always my biggest concern with the acquisition of Mikal Bridges, because you already had OG who does similar things, even though you're going to create this great defensive unit with the New York Knicks. You still don't have a guy that can really create off the dribble on their own besides Jalen Brunson. And then you get Karl-Anthony Towns that you have to run the offense through Karl-Anthony Towns for him to really be successful for his pick and rolls, pick and pops, and things of that nature, run the offense and making them coming off screens and pin downs as well. But if you're the New York Knicks, fans are going to, and it's going to take time. You have to find rhythm. You have to find continuity. You have to find, find chemistry. But right now for the New York Knicks, they have to figure out what their identity is going to be. I don't believe also Josh Hart should be a starter. I think he's better coming in as a sixth man, coming in as a glue guy, coming in as a player that's going to play in closing lineups. But I don't think he's a starter as well. Mikal Bridges' shot looks horrible, looks horrific. And if you were a New York Nets fan, watching Mikal Bridges does not really surprise you. And I'm sorry, because it's not a lot of New York Nets fans, out there. But if you were a Nets fans, watching Mikal Bridges does not surprise you. And unfortunately, Mikal Bridges, it seems like he's changed his shot. This is a guy that led the NBA for 6 consecutive years in corner threes, 122 corner threes last year. And for whatever reason, it looks like he has a hitch in his shot, and he decided, a 38% career three-point shooter, I want to change my shot. I don't know who gave Mikal Bridges that advice. We're talking once again about a 38% three-point shooter for his career decided to change his spot, his shooting shot. I don't know who gave him that advice. Once again, 6 consecutive years, Mikal Bridges has led the NBA in corner threes, 122 corner threes last season, 38% career three-point shooter, and he decides to change his shot. I don't know who's giving him counseling. I don't know who's recommending him to change his shot, but whoever did that, I know Knicks fans are like, what the hell is going on? And I think over the course of the season, he's going to find his rhythm. He's going to find his stroke and things of that nature. But right now, it's looking kind of nasty for Mikal Bridges for his shot. And then if you look at what they gave up for Mikal Bridges, they gave up 6 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. The Dallas Mavericks gave up 1 for Kyrie Irving. And then if you look at Mikal, you look at OG, they're basically the same type of players because they're defensive mentality first players and not scoring mentality first players. That's why when people are talking about, they can compete with Boston, pump the brakes, because their wings are scorer first and defense second. Real true two-way caliber players. They can go out and get you 25 and 30 points and also guard 1 through 4 in the basketball court. You can't say that about Mikal Bridges and OG on a nightly basis. Maybe one may have a great night, but you can't say that both players can go out and get you 30 at will. That's not OG. That's not Mikal Bridges. And once again, I know New York Knicks fans felt a lot of things about Julius Randle, but Julius Randle could create offense for himself and take pressure off of Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson may have to average 32 plus for the New York Knicks this season, because who's going to score the ball? And he also had to run the offense and through Cat at times, pin downs, pick and rolls, pick and pops, and make sure he gets going. But for us, have Jalen Brunson having another creator on that team, I'm not really seeing it. Even though it's the first game of the season, I'm not really seeing it, and that's why I think they're going to miss Julius Randle a little bit. But it's going to be a fun regular season. It's going to be a fun regular season. The Boston Celtics, they're different. They are 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 different, man. They are different. And it can get very scary because if Jason Tatum's jumper is back, it seems like Jason Tatum won a championship, sacrificed his role, played a new role in the NBA playoffs where instead of him being traditionally what he is, a small forward who is a scoring first, small forward, scoring first mentality, he became a dual forward in the playoffs, being the guy that was initiating offense, creating offense for others, playmaking the ball, rebounding, and scoring and playing within the flow of the offense. He won a championship that way, being a dual forward. Now the gloves is off. Now he's heard the disrespect. Now he had to be on a national, global stage of people questioning his ability and question his game like this brother isn't a top 5 to 8 player in the world. Now he's like, okay, let me go back to doing things my way. People saying I can't shoot. Let me show them. Let me show them what I'm really about. People saying that I don't have that mentality, like he wasn't a killer, like he wasn't a scorer first when he entered the league, like a true small forward. Jason Tatum is known for getting buckets, always has been. But what happens is when you go out and win a championship and do things a team way, people criticize you. That's why I always have respect for players that say, okay, well, like a Carmelo Anthony, like a Allen Iverson, like a Kobe Bryant. I'm gonna do things my way, and if I win, I will win. And if I don't, I don't. But at least if I don't win, I know it's because, well, I wanted to do it my way. Or if I do win, it's because I did it my way. Because sometimes it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because a lot of times you do it what the media wants you to do, what some of the fans want you to do, and then you do that and you sacrifice, and then people start discrediting you and saying that, oh, well, they won a championship because they had a great team, acting like wasn't Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown wasn't a title contender before Drew Holiday and Derek White came along, pretending like Jason Tatum wasn't going on deep playoff runs, being the first option for years on years, having big games, big moments, big scoring outbursts in the playoffs. People tend to forget about those things to try to belittle somebody's talent. And that's what they did for against Jason Tatum. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And hope y'all lock in. We streaming after all the major NBA games, the live games, and the game's still going on. It's 87-116 right now. They about to put the bench in. But it's gonna be a great NBA season. But I'm a little worried for the New York Knicks because I said it already in the stream. Jalen Brunson may have to average 32. And the problem is with Jalen Brunson and his play style and him being a small guard, you don't want to put all that pressure on Jalen Brunson because of you don't want him to wear down. And we know Tibbs has a history of his players wearing down because he plays them a lot of minutes. And then now if you're looking at Jalen Brunson, you have more responsibility offensively over, you already had a lot of offensive responsibility, but now you have even more responsibility this season. And if you don't have the players that can score the ball and give you a break and take some of the pressures off of you, then that can bring on wear and tear on your body. And you don't want him to break down because this is a player that took a pay cut to play with his friends. Remember that. He took a pay cut to play with his friends and for them to acquire Mikal Bridges and hopefully to re-sign some of his friends, and so the Knicks can be the Nova Knicks and things of that nature, even though they traded Dante already. You don't want to start getting hurt and having all this responsibility and scoring all these points, and then something happens to you, and when it's time for them to re-up you, they're like, oh, well, you're 31 years old and you had injury history, similar to Isaiah Thomas, how they did. The Boston Celtics kind of shipped him to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not saying that's going to happen to Jalen Brunson, but that's something that you have to be aware of if you're Jalen Brunson, if you're his camp, because you didn't sign up to have the sole responsibility to have to go out there and be prime Allen Iverson for a team due to the fact that this roster got players that are very, very similar and capable defenders, but offensively can kind of disappear at times. Forwards are wing players because they're very, very inconsistent. Mikal Bridges, this does not surprise me once again because we saw this Mikal Bridges and the inconsistency with Mikal Bridges for a year and a half with the Brooklyn Nets. And all we heard for the Brooklyn Nets, all we heard for the media is how great Mikal Bridges is, and he's being the first option, and he's getting first option type of defense and being on the board every night as the guy to stop. When in fact the reality is he was very inconsistent, and he was the second best player on the Brooklyn Nets. The first best player was Cam Thomas. Even though Brooklyn fans didn't want to admit it, the media didn't want to admit it because Mikal Bridges is such a nice guy, played the corporate role, a guy that was, seen as a franchise player for the Brooklyn Nets. But at the end of the day, if you're watching basketball, you're watching these games, you saw that Mikal Bridges is not a true number one. He's not a true number two option as well. And he's better being in that role like he was with the Phoenix Suns, because when you ask him to do more with the basketball, even though he was able to showcase his ability and his creation a little bit more, stuff like that, but it's hard to ask a player that's 25, 26 years old at the time to now start to develop and to showcase more of your game, and now to be this player where you got to go out and create, and you got to go and get the first best defender on the opposing team each and every night if you're not wired to be that type of player or wired to have that scoring mentality. So the 6 first-round picks that the Knicks gave up for Mikal, I was always scratching my head because it's just like if you watch the Brooklyn Nets games, of course fan bases watch their teams and things of that nature. And of course, like if you're not a media member or a beat a beat reporter, like most of the times you're covering your teams and stuff like that, and you're watching all the games. But a lot of people didn't watch the Brooklyn Nets game, so they didn't know what they were receiving with Mikal Bridges. 6 first-round picks from Mikal. Once again, the Mavericks traded Kyrie Irving for 1. It can get dicey, man. It can get dicey. But I think the New York Knicks are going to figure it out, but I think they're fool's gold. I don't think they're going to be as great as what everybody thinks they're going to be. I don't think that they're going to be a championship contender due to the fact of the matter is that Jalen Brunson is a superstar. Cat is a superstar. They have those two players. They got to figure those things out, and they have to play off each other. But at the same time, Jalen Brunson needs another creator that can take some of the pressure off of him when he's not on or having to be on all the time for the offensive standpoint of just scoring, having this high usage rate. He's 6'1", not 6'5". It's a very hard and challenging thing to do. That's why when we see a player like an Allen Iverson and we're like, yo, Allen Iverson is really different. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very, very fun. And it's your boy, Ma K. Smith. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm gone, man. Peace.